This shift in your mindset is going to make you more money. In business, revenue often gets all of the attention. I'm sure you've seen it. Companies brag about hitting 6 or 7 figures in revenue while posting growth charts on their LinkedIn profiles. As a business owner, it's hard not to compare your business to others. When we scroll through our feeds and see business owners bragging about their successes, it's easy to feel like we're falling behind. We've all had those moments of frustration. I'm working so hard and so many hours, but I'm not seeing the growth that I want. Why am I not scaling like other businesses? Or probably the worst feeling, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. The reality is you're focusing on the wrong thing. Revenue. What you need to be focusing on instead is profit. Revenue isn't a good measure of success. Profit is. When you shift your mindset from chasing revenue to building sustainable profits, that's when your efforts are truly going to pay off. So what's the difference between a revenue and profit? Revenue is the total amount of money that a business brings in by selling products or services. So for example, if you sell 1,000 units of a $50 product, your revenue is $50,000. But revenue doesn't account for any expenses yet. The cost of goods to make your product, shipping, labor expenses, stuff like that. Profit is what's left over after you subtract all of those expenses. So from that $50,000 revenue, if your expenses were $35,000, then your total profit would be $15,000. So when self-proclaimed CEOs jump online to brag about how they hit $1 million in revenue, that doesn't mean that they're pocketing $1 million. In reality, many of them didn't even break even. In fact, some of them probably lost money. Don't buy into these claims that those people are rich and successful. Most of them aren't, and they're just trying to scam you into buying their latest course full of useless information on how to grow your revenue to 6 or 7 figures. They're not going to teach you everything you need to know. Revenue is an ego metric. It feeds into comparison, but it doesn't tell the whole story. Revenue numbers are going to be bigger than profit numbers, and that's why people like to focus on them. But you're in far better shape if your business is making $500,000 a year with a 40% profit margin than a business that's making $5 million a year with only a 5% profit margin. Chasing revenue at all costs leads to dangerous habits. Over-discounting to close deals quickly. Over-investing in marketing just to acquire new customers. Expanding too fast without building sustainable systems. Ignoring hidden costs that quietly erode margins. Or maybe the worst, working nonstop on your business only to get burned out. Instead of focusing on ways to make more revenue, focus on ways to make more profit. How do we do this? By shifting our mindset to ask ourselves new questions. Instead of asking, how can I make more sales? Ask yourself, how can I make each sale more profitable? Here's what that shift looks like in action. Meet our client, North River Hats, a custom trucker hat company where customers choose their own patches, colors, and accessories. This business took off quickly, and the owner, Jamie, felt completely overwhelmed with customer demand. Growth was far outpacing what she could handle as a one-woman operation. When Jamie brought us in to refine her brand and website strategy, we uncovered what the real problem was. She was spending far too much time making these hats, around 2 to 3 hours per design. On top of that, she was juggling everything herself, updating her social media, setting up parties, figuring out inventory and invoicing. It was just way too much for one person to handle. That's after working sometimes 12-hour days to make these hats. It wasn't really sustainable or worth the money. This wasn't the reason she started her business, and something definitely needed to change. The first adjustment we made when coming up with a brand strategy was to focus on higher margin offers. While one-off custom designs are nice, the real money comes in doing parties and events. Jamie could make multiple hats in the same amount of time it took her to do one custom hat, and she creates an interactive, fun experience for her guests. We also simplified her ordering process. Instead of letting customers customize every detail, we gave them a showcase of designs and let them pick and choose certain items. Doing this cut production time rapidly, but kept revenue steady. The takeaway, not every product or service is equally profitable. Double down on the ones that have stronger margins and refine or completely cut out the ones that don't. One thing that Jamie was worried about about was her pricing. She was concerned that she might be charging too much and that people couldn't afford it. But then I asked her, well, you're still getting orders, right? You're getting plenty of orders, more orders than you can handle. So that means that price isn't the issue. If she lowered the prices, sure, she might get some more orders, but at what cost? Her time. Lowering her prices is only going to add extra work for her without increasing her earnings, and she's already working day and night to make these hats. Customers aren't complaining about costs, so that isn't an issue. The challenge is she's overworked and stressing too much about her competitors. But her competitors don't do it like her. They can do business their way while she does business her way. When you chase revenue, it's tempting to undercut competitors. When you chase profit, you differentiate on value. Plenty of Jamie's customers have said she makes the best custom hats out there, way better than the other people, and that's why they chose her in the first place. A major part of Jamie's brand strategies was finding ways to cut unnecessary costs. As her social media presence grew, more and more people were asking how they could buy custom hats online. Jamie needed an e-commerce solution, and fast. She considered Etsy, but there was absolutely no way we were going to let her go down that road. I plan to make an entire video on why creatives need to steer clear of Etsy and how they take advantage of sellers. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe. The better strategy was to add WooCommerce to her existing WordPress website. WooCommerce is free, open source, and fully customizable. This meant her shop could be branded to her business and not stuck under the Etsy umbrella. By running her own store, she was saving hundreds of dollars a month in fees that a platform like Etsy would take. She's way better off keeping that money in her pocket instead of handing it over to a corporation that profits off of creators. Another smart way we reduced costs was by working with the inventory that Jamie already had on hand. Creating her custom hats requires a wide range of materials, different color hats, different patches, different pins, chains, all sorts of accessories. Instead of constantly buying new supplies, we shifted focus to highlighting the products that she already had in stock. In the summer, that meant showcasing beach-ready styles and 4th of July hats. Now that football season is here, Jamie's focus is highlighting team-inspired hats. Each approach not only saves her money on buying new materials, but it also saves her valuable time in production. She can create fresh seasonal designs with stuff that she already owns. Profit growth isn't just about charging more, it's about spending smarter. Automating repetitive tasks, renegotiating supplier contracts, and reducing waste can directly impact margins. One-time buyers won't sustain growth. You need to have customers that keep coming back. For Jamie, a big part of that strategy is doing festivals and events. These gatherings give her the opportunity to sell a large quantity of hats at once instead of relying on individual orders. Jamie put in the work to get involved with as many local events and markets as possible. She built strong relationships with organizers so that she's continually invited back. To keep her audience in the loop, we added a regularly updated calendar of events on her website. That way customers can easily find where she's going to be next. On top of that, we created package deals specifically tailored for groups, things like teacher appreciation, corporate events, and birthday parties. These bundles not only offer more value for customers, but they help save Jamie time and money. Acquiring a new customer is 5 times more expensive than retaining an existing one. A profit-focused mindset prioritizes things like loyalty programs, upsells, and customer satisfaction, turning one-time buyers into repeat profitable customers. Every successful brand strategy needs to be measured. Otherwise, how do you know what's working and what needs to be tweaked? Since partnering with Jamie, her business has grown significantly, but that doesn't mean that there's no room for improvement. In fact, part of building a strong brand is constantly tracking progress and making adjustments. Over time, we identified what was working for Jamie and what wasn't. Some events outperformed others, so we streamlined and focused on the more profitable ones. Jamie also listened closely to her customers, getting feedback on the styles and things that they wanted. That led to introducing new designs and investing in a laser cutting machine so she could make custom patches in-house instead of having to order them from a third party. These intentional, data-driven decisions not only led Jamie to build a successful creative business, but a lasting asset. Revenue-focused leaders measure top-line growth. Profit-focused leaders measure growth profit margin and the return on investment. These numbers reveal the real health in your business. At the end of the day, chasing revenue is a distraction. It may look impressive on social media, but it doesn't pay your bills, it doesn't reduce your stress, and it doesn't build long-term stability. Profit does. When you shift your mindset from how can I make more sales to how can I make each sale more profitable, everything changes. You'll stop playing the comparison game and make a business that actually works for you. Jamie's story proves that sustainable profits come from focus, intentional strategy, and measuring what actually matters. Do that and you'll not only grow a business, you'll create a lasting asset that gives you freedom. If you're struggling with your brand strategy, we're here to help. Leave a comment down below or contact us via our website. Thanks so much for watching.